What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So real quick, it's the craziest thing that has ever happened to you at the beach. Tell me. Put it in the comment section. What's the not sunburn? You ain't gotta tell me about the time you got sunburn or you stepped on a jellyfish, might have to pee on it. I don't need that. That's typical. That stuff. What's the craziest thing to happen at the beach? All right. I need to know. So the next video, the reason why I asked the next video we getting into is if you see this on the beach, you have a few seconds to hide. What I equate that to, meaning I may not want to go to the beach no more, to which I've already gave y'all reasons to why I'm not a big fan of the beach anymore. I used to be an avid goer, but now, not so much. You know what I mean? Give me a pool, give me a jacuzzi. I mean, heck, give me a whirlpool tub in my home. I'd be a lot better off. That's all I'm saying. But we're going to see what this video hitting for. So if you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. Join the fam. Real quick, moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Here we go.
Most people love nothing more than taking a day at the beach. Sea, sand, surf, some sandwiches. What could be better? But not all beach days go according to plan. In fact, some days you probably wish you'd gone literally anywhere but the beach. From a one-eyed shark to a weird carcass, let's take a look at the 20 strangest things washed up on beaches. Number 20. One-eyed baby shark. It's very tempting for me to just start singing the baby shark song now, but I'm resisting with...
I swear I wish I made that baby shark song. I swear. A lot of us do.
All my might friends. After all, that shark had 2 eyes. This one we're about to see, however, just one, and it's all natural. Professional fishermen in Indonesia caught an adult albino shark off the coast of Maluku province. But they quickly realized that this wasn't just one shark, she was pregnant. The fishermen immediately set to work freeing the child from the dead shark's womb, only to discover there were 3 babies inside. And to make matters even more insane, one of them was born with 1 eye right in the middle of its head, as well as a milky white coloring. The fishermen were understandably surprised by the sight. They were expecting just 1 baby, not 3. They certainly didn't expect a one-eyed milk shark. I mean, would anybody expect a one-eyed milk shark? For clarity, this isn't how sharks develop. This is a unique and curious genetic abnormality. One-eyed albino sharks are far from the norm. These guys were lucky enough to find it in the womb. Before we go on, like this video.
Was it still alive? Why they had it out the water like it didn't need to be in water? Like, I was confused about that just then.
Smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Hate when they do that.
It's time for the rare topic. If you see this on the beach, you have a few seconds to hide, because you never know what this bizarre mutated fish could do to you if you get near it. And this is an interesting one. A giant mutated fish washed up on the coast of Guam, where it caused immediate panic among local residents. Scientists believe there is some kind of correlation between the beast and environmental pollution, but until they complete a full study, we'll just never know. Some, of course, insist that the whole thing is fake. What do you think? Is this another big publicity stunt, or something we should all be concerned about? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag #RareTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just saw. And now to the next topic. Number 19. Sea Creature Carcass. One of the most common ways people see weird animals is simply by going outside. I know, that's an insane idea. There are people out there. But hey, if you want to see weird stuff in this world, you have to be, you know, in the world. On the Indonesian island of Seram, A 37-year-old resident was happily exploring a local beach when they noticed the carcass of a giant sea creature just chilling on the sand. At first, they assumed it was some kind of boat, but when they got closer, well, it's something else entirely. Experts speculate that the creature died at least 3 days before being washed up onto the shore, but as for the big question of what is it, even scientists seem unsure. Lab tests.
If you're like stranded on an island and you roll up and you see that, is this I don't think that's still edible, is it? I mean, at that point, if you stranded on an island, you're at the point where you trying to figure out if you're gonna live or die anyway, so you're probably willing to test it anyway if you get the opportunity. So I guess that it don't really matter at that point.
Were quickly organized to get to the bottom of the mystery, while the beach became a hot tourist attraction. Nothing brings people to the beach like a large dead animal nobody can identify. One animal expert said that the creature was probably some kind of dolphin, only to realize that the creature had fur. Then they followed up with, I don't know what it is, probably some Harry Potter thing. Yep, makes sense to me. Number 18. Hairy Blob. An argument could be made that most beaches in the world are usually populated by hairy blobs, but, well, I'm not gonna make that argument. Instead, I'm going to focus on the bizarre hairy blob that was found on a Philippines beach. If anybody has any wild guesses as to what it is, feel free to comment. In 2017, reports began.
I don't know what it is, but the way they cutting on it, they about to make a carpet out of it, I'll tell you that much.
Emerging from the Philippines of a mysterious carcass that washed up on a local beach. While many assumed it was your everyday beached whale or some weird jellyfish thing, they'd been proved very wrong very quickly. In fact, the creature seemed to defy all explanation. This carcass was hairy, bloody, and very strangely globular. Naturally, people assumed it was a squid, but the length of the animal, a whopping 49 feet long, disproved that. In case you need to know this fact, squid only reach 16.5 feet long. Keep it in mind for your next trivia night. A spokesman for the Ministry of Marine Affairs later confirmed that researchers were operating under the belief that this was a whale. However, those same researchers took samples from the creature in hopes they could identify the species later. Did they ever succeed? We have no idea, so feel free to wildly speculate. Number 17. 26-foot shark. It may surprise you to find out that sharks actually wash up onto the beach all the time. We hear so much about beached whales and dolphins that it can be easy to forget that. Even Jaws can get washed up. In 2009, reports came out of New York that an absolutely huge shark had washed ashore on a Long Island beach. Naturally, the media flooded to the scene, hoping to...
I'm sorry, but I know everybody's like, why aren't they trying to push him? Because it's a shark! Like, he ain't gonna get done and be like, thank you. You push him in the water and you mess around still be in the water, man. He turn around and grab you and eat you on the way back out to sea, man. Nah.
Cover the story, only to discover that none of the reports were misleading. The shark was a real true whopper. Experts later confirmed that it measured 26 feet 6 inches long, and likely weighed anywhere up to 5,000 pounds. Kinda makes you wonder how they even got the thing off the beach, doesn't it? Carrying a 5,000-pound shark is not really the kind of thing CrossFit and Peloton prepare you for. The species was confirmed by researchers to be an especially large basking shark. And again, while beached sharks may not get the kind of attention or awareness that beached whales or dolphins do, they're incredibly common. When you live your life in the ocean, you're pretty much guaranteed to be washed up sooner or later. Number 16. Killer whales. We've already mentioned how common it is for whales to end up lost on the beachy sands. In fact, it happens pretty much all the time, but that doesn't make it any less heartbreaking to see one of these highly intelligent creatures lost and dying. These killer whales got very, very unlucky. They were hunting for seals in the wild expanse of the open ocean when everything went tragically wrong. Strong tides and some unexpected turns managed to thrust the whales into a sandbar with seemingly no hope of escaping. Thankfully, these whales had Captain Doug and Debbie Davis watching out for their well-being. The Davises monitored the sharks for hours, making sure that they were okay and not at any risk or danger. When the tide finally rose high enough, the whales were able to safely swim off the sandbar, having beaten all the odds to survive. There's nothing worse for a shark than to be stranded on a sandbar in the middle of the ocean. It's kinda like what would happen if we were surrounded by oxygen that we just couldn't breathe. Frustrating, painful, and generally a very unhappy experience for everybody. Congratulations to these sharks for surviving, and without a Wilson-shaped volleyball in sight. Number 15.
Was the Free Willy song that Michael Jackson sang during the movie Free Willy playing in anybody else's head? Ah, man, I'm sorry. I'm a kid again.
Giant Manta Ray. Sometimes even fishermen lose their perfect catch, but what happens next for those creatures? They're trapped in a net they can't escape from. And the unpredictable ocean waves, well, I think we can all figure out what comes next, can't we? In 2016, this giant manta washed up on a Brazilian beach, wrapped up in a fishing net. Tourists and residents watched the sight in both awe and confusion, having never seen the animal up close. But one fisherman was doing everything in his power to free the animal and help him get back to his marine home. Luckily for him, not everybody was content to just watch and take photos. A bunch of people hurried over to help the manta ray get back into the water, and they actually managed to survive, albeit with some scratched up hands. 15 minutes after the animal was returned to its underwater home, beachgoers saw another giant ray leap out of the ocean. Some of them claimed that it was the same ray, presumably happy to be back in the water, but we'll leave that up for you to decide. Was the ray happy, or was it some other ray? Number 14. Holy Grail of Shipwrecks. It doesn't matter what your obsession is, there's always some kind of holy grail. That one very rare thing that you really want but don't know if it even exists. Well, sometimes the universe has a special way of delivering it. Like the ocean. Over 200 years after it met its unfortunate doom beneath the waves, a surprisingly well-preserved shipwreck was pushed onto the sands of Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida. The boat was initially discovered by a woman and her 8-year-old son, who were simply enjoying an early morning walk when they saw the strange waterlogged ship skeleton. According to experts, the boat dates back sometime between the 1700s and the 1800s, and just about everyone was fascinated by the find, if only because of the more cryptic details. For instance, curious archaeologists happened to notice ancient numerals on the ship's beams. What do they mean? Well, that's a job for Nicolas Cage to find out. It's hard to stress how unusual this is. Shipwrecks don't tend to just wash up in this way, but hey, the universe has its own curious way of doing things. Somebody's grand adventure has just begun, and it's all thanks to the Holy Grail of Shipwrecks. Number 13. 3 dead sperm whales. England is known for many things. Tea, the Queen, an unusual love of standing in line, but one of the things it probably doesn't want to be known for is a collection of dead sperm whales on its beaches. That's probably not one for the tourist board. In 2016, England suffered a bizarre pandemic of sperm whale deaths that seemed to completely defy explanation. In the space of a single week, 5 sperm whale corpses were discovered on beaches all over the UK, with experts speculating that they all came from the same pod. While researchers were eager to get some answers, experts had to deal with the problem quickly because decomposing whales pose a serious threat to public health. We've already discussed this on the channel, their habit of exploding. That's not really something you want on a beach. There's nothing worse than—
Wait, whoa. They explode? What? Somebody direct me to what video that is so I can hear about that. That way I know not to just try to walk up to something that's been there and you don't know how long it's been there and then all of a sudden explode and you stand. No.
then taking your dog for a walk and coming home covered in whale guts. The whales were quickly cordoned off from the public, with police preventing anybody from getting too close to the bodies, although apparently they were happy to have people stand less than a foot away. What an interesting choice. Number 12. Cape Verde dolphins. As we've seen, beached whales and dolphins are a pretty common thing on our planet. Well, common within reason. It's very much uncommon when dozens if not hundreds of these intelligent animals wash up all at once. At that point, it just raises a whole lot of questions. On Cape Verde, almost 200 melon-headed dolphins were discovered on a beach on Boa Vista Island in West Africa. I will repeat that so you can take in the insanity of the situation. Almost 200 dolphins washed up on a beach. Naturally, authorities contacted the animal experts to try and work out what happened, but the whole thing got infinitely more confusing. When officials, residents, and tourists worked to drag the dolphins back into the sea, they were stunned to see the dolphins had returned. Yes, for some reasons the dolphins were beaching themselves, stunning and confusing local marine biologists. Authorities tasked researchers with finding out why these hyper-intelligent animals were so intent on committing mass suicide, but I don't imagine anybody will ever get.
I don't think they're doing it to kill themselves. They know it's something out in that water that is. I'd rather be on this beach for a moment than be in that water. That's telling me. That's like saying Megalodon is out there. We need to chill on the beach for a minute.
The answer's because the dolphins are dead, and also because a language barrier. There's no dolphin to human translation dictionary. I've looked. Number 11. Giant pipes. We've already covered the seemingly confusing natural world of England's beaches, so why not make it even more confusing by discussing one of the country's most famous beached creatures, the giant pipes of Norfolk. Yes, it turns out that not only do animals get beached, but giant pieces of plastic do too. In 2017, a collection of giant plastic pipe segments washed up onto the coast of a Norfolk beach, and the press were confused. The pipes measured 8 feet in diameter, and around 1,574 feet long each, so it's pretty easy to understand why so many people considered them a tourist attraction. Apparently the pipes had come loose while being towed to Algeria for a major project, and soon they had the whole country talking. The pipes had become such a major point of discussion that the Maritime Coast Guard Agency had released an official statement. The agency sought to assure the public that the pipes posed no danger to them, and that they would be soon relocated off the beach en route to Norway. We have no idea how the British people reacted to the statement, but I imagine they were disappointed they couldn't get any more selfies with the abandoned pipes. What a sentence. Number 10. The North Gower Mystery. When you first see this thing, it's easy to jump to conclusions about aliens or some kind of sinister body snatcher type conspiracy. Just about everybody else did that too, but it turns out they had nothing to worry about. Maybe. When this thing washed up onto a Welsh beach, locals were understandably concerned. After all, nobody could identify what this thing was. According to the man who discovered the mysterious object, it measured about 10 feet long, making it much bigger than, say, your average jellyfish. Once the press caught
somebody just walking up to it, just poking it. Oh my God.
The story, the whole thing blew up into a national curiosity, but scientists were on hand to make sure people didn't get carried away, explaining that the item was not alien in origin, but purely biological. To be specific, it was a piece of driftwood. Talk about anticlimactic. The experts went on to say that the driftwood was covered in a collection of gooseneck barnacles, which are considered a delicacy in European countries like Portugal and Spain, so if someone were somehow able to remove them, you're looking at a pretty tasty fortune right there. Of course, the item weighed a ton, so unless you had the world's strongest man there with you, that wasn't about to happen. Number 9. Dead sperm whale.
Y'all eating that? Y'all trying that? They said delicacy. I knew exactly where they were going. Nope. Nah, that don't look too tasty.
It's not exactly uncommon to see a beached whale, and sadly it's becoming increasingly common for experts to discover that these intelligent animals are dying from consuming plastic.
Look like something was feeding on that, right? Y'all saw that, right?
And other discarded junk. This next story is particularly sad for any animal lovers out there. This massive 31-foot-long sperm whale washed ashore in an Indonesian national park, but officials were shocked and saddened to find that the whale had died from consuming almost 13 pounds of plastic waste. Among the swallowed goods, 115 drinking cups, 4 plastic bottles, 25 plastic bags, and 2 flip-flops. And don't worry, you're not the only ones who are horrified by this. Conservationists and environmentalists all over the world expressed outrage, disappointment, and general unhappiness about the fact that this kind of thing is becoming more and more common. It seems every other beached whale has been killed by consuming an abandoned McDonald's cup. Officials for the WWF attempted to use the incident to draw more awareness to the issue, but I imagine it's just a matter of days before another tragic incident like this happens yet again. The future may be bright for some of us, but for the animals living in the deep, it's never looked murkier. Number 8. Lost buoy. The whole idea of a buoy is that you know where it is, you put it out in the middle of the ocean.
It's crazy seeing it up close like that to see how big it actually is, to see it like that.
And boats can use it as a marker for where they are. So to lose one, well, you've kind of failed at your only job. But apparently it happens. In 2017, a buoy off the South Carolina coast became displaced and began wandering off into the horizon. For the next 2 years, officials were unable to track down the missing buoy and eventually gave up. Then in 2019, Red Number 8, a buoy described as being the size of a truck, finally washed up onto the beach of New Smyrna, Florida. Naturally, the lost buoy became a tourist hotspot, with many people wondering how the water could have been so violent to push this giant, huge, heavy thing all that distance. Unfortunately for the buoy, it seems vacation time is over, as officials have announced their plans to get it back home to South Carolina. But hey, it was a fun journey while it lasted, right? You can't ask for anything more than a cross-country trip by sea. Buoys will be buoys. Number 7. Lion's mane jellyfish. Much like whales and dolphins, jellyfish are also known to accidentally get stranded on the sand, but the ones that do are usually the pretty small species that can easily be mistaken for some kind of plastic bag, not a 4-foot behemoth. And yet, when Sherman Pike and his son, Oliver, were exploring tide pools in Washington, that's exactly what they found. A huge 4-foot jellyfish on the sand. 7-year-old Oliver naturally thought that a creature that huge had to be alien, and the jellyfish's appearance didn't exactly convince him that it was.
If it's dead like that, could it still, like, do harm to you?
Wasn't extraterrestrial. The jellyfish was basically a gelatinous blob, clear in the center with red and yellow lines that make the whole thing kinda look like a wheel. When they got home, they did their research and discovered that what they saw was the lion's mane jellyfish, the largest species of jellyfish in the world. Apparently it's common for them to wash up onto the coast in late summer, so there's something to remember. I'm sure that Oliver was pretty bummed out to discover that he didn't see an alien, but hey, who are we to assume that the lion's mane jellyfish is totally terrestrial? For all we know, that thing is a spy, keeping watch over us. Now I've gone and freaked myself out. Number 6. Kinder Surprise Eggs. All over the world, Kinder Surprise eggs have brought great joy to children everywhere. Except for America, where children can't be trusted to have toys inside their food. But everywhere else, kids get to enjoy the combination of chocolate and toys. Sorry, America. In 2017, thousands of plastic eggs washed up onto the shore of the German Wadden Sea island of Langhoek. Or to be more specific, it wasn't so much the eggs that washed up onto the shore, it was the toys contained inside the eggs. It's believed that a strong storm caused a Danish container ship to lose its containers, resulting in the biggest spill since the Deepwater Horizon. Of course, this is less catastrophic and more, well, the kids had an absolute blast cleaning up the mess, so I guess that's one way to make children aware of the dangers of pollution. Apparently, it's not a one-off incident. According to research, around 10,000 containers end up in the oceans every year due to storms and other circumstances. The currents end up dispersing them all over the planet, creating bizarre situations like this one. I bet none of those parents expected they'd be cleaning up toys from the beach. At least, not like this. Number 5. Giant Lego Man. Oh,
Yo, Lego Man find his way onto all videos, bro. All videos Lego Man find his way on.
Giant Lego Man, why have you come to Florida? Is it to promote your movie, or is it for the water? Are you a stunt brought here to advertise? Or did you just want to show off your uniquely plastic thighs? It's an excerpt from my poem, Lego Man. It's based on the Lego man who, I'll just tell you the story. In 2011, a giant 8-foot-tall Lego man mysteriously appeared on a Florida beach. There was no explanation for where he came from, who put him there, or why, allowing for many people to bask in an unthinkable amount of confusion. The Lego Man's shirt read, "No real, then you are." Which makes no sense, leading many to conclude that the guy had a pretty wild night of drinking. According to the locals who fished it out of the water, the Lego Man weighed around 100 pounds, which seems to raise more questions than answers. Honestly, it's been 10 years since the incident, and the world is still asking why, and who, and why, and how, and why. It seems like we're never going to get any kind of reasoning for the Lego Man's presence, which only means one thing: it's spring break in Legoland. Number 4. Giant metal die. I don't know enough about dice to know which number is considered lucky, but I would hope that when this giant metal die washed up, it was on that number, because otherwise this whole thing is just one very elaborate threat nobody worked out yet. In 2017, this mysterious giant, rusty-looking die washed up on the shore of an Idaho lake. It measures around 6 feet by 6 feet, with one side featuring some extruding pipes and white dots on either side. But locals weren't all that convinced. One of them quickly debunked the idea that this was a cosmic dice, explaining that it was clear somebody just stuck some white decals on the side of a box. You have to admire the directness of the Idaho locals. City workers quickly came to remove the object, and they came to pretty much the same conclusion. In fact, one local recognized the object. He says it was an old storage tank that washed up near his property in 2008. Somebody just stuck a couple of circles on the sides and pushed it back out to sea. I mean, it's less concerning than the ocean threatening us, but it's,
Yo, y'all get on my nerves. Whoever came up with this, bro, salute to you, fam. Salute to you. Because I ain't even gonna lie, I'd do the same thing. Especially if I'd have thought of that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I knew it was gonna freak whoever found it first, it was gonna mess them up.
kind of a disappointing ending to the story, man. Thanks for that. Number 3. Red crabs. In the old monster movies, the problems usually start when the beach is overrun by strange creatures. Well, let me be the one to say, it ain't just a movie anymore, my friends. In 2015, one San Diego beach became a scene straight out of a monster movie. If you don't like crabs, you're gonna hate this. Seemingly overnight, hordes containing thousands of bright red tuna crabs washed up onto the shore of San Diego's coastline. From Ocean Beach to La Jolla, it seemed the crabs had completely taken over. In a matter of weeks, according to marine biologists, there's a perfectly rational reason for the nightmarish sight: warm weather. These creatures tend to live along the west coast of Baja California and the Gulf of California. When the warm water intrudes on their habitat, they tend to get stranded. By the thousands, apparently, people flocked from all over to get a glimpse at the so-called horror movie scene that was unfolding along the coast. And sure enough, they were shocked to find that they could barely find a spot to walk walk that wouldn't see them stepping on a crab. Some people decided to take some home to cook, but experts warn against that for obvious reasons. You don't know what's in them. Come on guys, don't eat weird stuff you find at the beach. Number 2. Plastic ducks. Rubber duckies are supposed to be used in the bathtub or the water, not on the sand. Apparently Mother Nature doesn't understand how this stuff works because in 1992, she blessed the shores all along the Atlantic with, well, a lot of rubber duckies. To be specific, 28,800 bath toys were lost at sea. During an intense storm, a cargo ship container capsized in the North Pacific. The container was filled with 28,000 rubber ducks and other assorted bath toys that were on their way from China to the US. As often happens in these container collapses, the current carried the ducks to their new home. Various shores all over the United States. Reports claimed they had turned up everywhere from Maine to Florida, and some even further afield. The whole ordeal became a huge national—
I swear if I come to the beach and I see all these ducks, bro, I must swear somebody put something in my drink. Somebody roofied me. Had to.
story, and it's still fascinating people, even today. 13 years on from the incident, journalist Donovan Hahn began a journey to understand what happened and where the ducks went. He ended up discovering so much about the incident that he wrote a book, Moby Duck, the true story of 28,800 bath toys lost at sea, and of the beachcombers, oceanographers, environmentalists, and fools, including the author, who went in search of them. Yes, that's the whole title. Nope, I'm not kidding. Number 1. Giant snowballs. Siberia is well known for its treasure trove of archaeological finds and mummified animal corpses, but now it can finally be known as something else, the home of giant beach snowballs, because isn't that what we've always wanted from a beach? A place to just get away from it all and get sun freeze. In 2016, an 11-mile stretch of coastline in the Gulf of Ob was covered in icy spheres. According to locals, the size of the spheres varied, with some measuring the size of a tennis ball and some measuring almost 3 feet wide. Even locals in a nearby village said they had never seen anything like it, and some of them had lived there forever. Experts later revealed that the unique snowballs were the simple result of a rare environmental process. Small pieces of ice form, which are then rolled by wind and water to create giant snowballs. This is the kind of unique weather phenomenon that will never happen anywhere but Russia, well, maybe Canada or Alaska, but they seem to abide by the laws of nature most of the time.
I know some of y'all looking at that like, yo, that'd be crazy snowball fight. No, you hit somebody with that, bro, game over. And when I say game over, I mean they're not getting back up. They're not.
Russia tends to be more of a wild card when it comes to, well, laws. What's the strangest thing you've ever seen on the beach?
Like, after watching this list, I've never seen anything strange on the beach. Other, you know what I'm saying? Other than people. And we all are strange, but yeah, it's snowballs on the beach. No, that thing with the worms that they was talking about was a delicacy. No, the hundreds of beach whales. No, crabs by the millions. No, I've never experienced anything like that. But if you have, again, put your experience in the comment section, man. Let me know what you think. But yeah, man, don't y'all be going out there trying to eat that stuff. What is wrong with y'all? I can't take y'all nowhere. Sheesh. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what you think. And stick around and stay tuned, man. Until next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.